I have been here a while now. The light here is the tired kind of gold, not the bright kind. The kind that has been at this for a long time and is not going to stop tonight either. The roots of the tree come down through the dark in long, pale ropes, and they are still bleeding, very slowly. Someone, somewhere above me, kept a promise about a tree. There is a woman on the throne. Her hair is the red of an old wound. Her armor has gone a green I do not have a word for. One of her hands is gold. One of her legs is gold. The other is too. There is gold where the eyes should be. She is not sleeping the way people sleep. She is sleeping the way a knife sleeps in a drawer. The smell, if you want to know, is honeysuckle and meat. I came down because I heard her dreaming. I do not always hear that, but sometimes I do. And when I do, I come and I sit. Because the worst thing you can do to a person who has been forgotten by everyone they loved is forget them again. Tonight, I would like to tell you about Malenia. I had seen her before, a long time before, when the tree she sits beneath was no bigger than a child's arm, and the child watering it was no bigger than her arm in turn. He was small. He stayed small. That was the deal he had made with whatever world he had been born into, or that had been made for him before he could refuse it, and he was good about it. Small and patient and kind, in the way of people who have never been allowed to be anything but. His name was Miquella, and he was her brother, and he was watering the sapling with his own blood. A drop, then another, then another. Very steady. The way you would water a plant if you loved it. She sat beside him on a low stone. She was already missing a hand. There were already places on her arms where the red was beginning to come up under the skin, like a sunset coming up under a cloud. She was watching him work. She was not saying anything. I think she had said everything that needed saying by then, and the rest was sitting together while the tree drank. He looked up at her, once, and he said something I have not been able to forget no matter how many fires I have sat at since. He said, "I will fix this." And she said, "I know." And he said, "I promise." And she said, "I know that too." That was a long time before any of the rest of it. When the great ring at the center of the world broke into pieces, every child of the woman who had worn it picked up a piece and carried it somewhere. Most of them carried theirs into a war. The wars are not interesting. I have walked through many of them. The wars are all the same once you have seen two. The army that walked with her, though, that was something. They were knights. They wore gold, because gold was the color of the tree, and the tree was the only place any of them had ever felt at home. There was crimson at the trim of their armor, the color of the rot in their throats. Beneath the gold, beneath the steel and the cloth and the leather, their own bodies were rotting. They knew that. They had known it for years. They had decided that they would walk with her anyway, because walking with her was the only thing left that felt like being alive. She did not raise her voice to them. I never once heard her raise her voice to anyone. She would put her gold hand on a shoulder, and the knight under that shoulder would stand straighter, and the rot in their chest would, for one breath, feel like something they were doing on purpose, instead of something being done to them. I think that was the gift of her. I do not think the gift of her was the sword. They went south, through the lakes country, where the water lay flat and bright as poured tin, through fields, through a town I had liked once, that did not look like itself anymore by the time her column came through it. They did not stop. They did not stop because she did not stop. And she did not stop because somewhere behind her, in the dark at the foot of the tree, her brother was waiting, and he had asked her to do a thing, and she had said yes. The duel was in a place called Caelid, which is not what anyone calls it now. She came in with her army, and her half-brother, who was called Radahn, came out with his, and they killed each other's people for a while in the way generals do, and then they walked out into the field between the armies, and they met. He was bigger than her. He was bigger than most things. He rode a horse that had been too small for him for a long time and had loved him anyway. They fought. She was very, very good. He was very, very good. Neither of them was going to win this, honestly. Both of them knew it. There was, in her armor, a small pin of gold. The gold was a kind of gold that no one else has made before or since. Her brother had made it. He had made it for her, because there was a god inside her, sitting in her bones the way a man sits in a chair, and the pin kept the god in the chair. The god could not stand up as long as the pin was where it was. She reached up while Radahn was fighting her, and she took the pin out. I want to say it slowly, because she did it slowly. She took the pin out, and she snapped it in her fingers, and she let the god inside her stand up, and the god inside her stood up. The field bloomed. There is no other word. A flower the size of a city opened underneath both of them. A flower the color of the inside of an artery. And the flower had been there the whole time, only waiting. And the petals went out over the fields and the armies and the houses. Some who came later called it the Scarlet Aeonia, which is, I will not pretend, the right name for it. The brother she was fighting, the big one, the one on the horse, he did not die. That was the thing. That was the thing none of us understood for a long time, including, I think, most of the people who walked away from that field. He did not die because she had not been trying to kill him. She had been trying to send him somewhere. I was close enough to see his face when he understood. It was not anger. It was not even sadness. It was the look a man gets when an old promise he has half forgotten finally comes back around to be paid. There was a promise. Her brother, the small one, the one with the blood and the tree, had made a promise to the big one on the horse, a long time before any of them were old enough to know what the promise would cost. And the small one had decided, eventually, that he wanted to be paid. And the only way for the big one to come pay him, where he was going, was to die. And the only person in the world who could kill him, or come close enough, was her. She broke the pin. She let the flower bloom. She bent down close to Radahn, while he was still able to hear anything at all, and she gave him the message she had been carrying for her brother since they were children. She said quietly, "Miquella awaits thee, O promised consort." He heard her. He heard her, and a piece of him that was him left and went where it had been called. The rest of him stayed in his body, and the body kept moving for years, on the same horse, in the same field, with no one home behind the eyes, until eventually somebody else came and put it down. She did not see that. By the time it happened, she was already gone. Far to the north of that field, while the woman on it was past hearing, something was happening, very quietly, in the canopy of the tree she had grown up under. The small one was being taken from the place he had been growing, higher up, in the canopy. He had been hidden in a kind of seed, or a kind of cocoon, depending on who you ask. He was inside the tree the way a heart is inside a chest. He was waiting. He was almost ready. The promise was almost paid. And then a man came up the tree, in the dark, and put his hand into the seed and took him out. The man's name. I will say it once. Mohg. He was a brother, technically. A half one. The world had a great many of them in those days. He had blood in his name, and blood on his hands, and the place he was going to take the small one was a place I have looked at and chosen not to describe to you tonight. He took him. He took him while the dying knights at the foot of the tree did not stop him, and the tree did not stop him. And far to the south, on a field she could not see, the sister of the one being stolen did not stir. I have wondered since whether she could have. I have wondered if some piece of her heard him climbing and chose to keep dreaming. What I think is not mine to put on the fire. Her face is what her face is, and I cannot read it any better than you can. Now I will tell you about the journey home. There was one knight left at the end of the field. Her name was Finlay. I do not know if anybody remembers Finlay. There is a small grave for her near the place where I am sitting tonight, and the grave is not impressive, which I think Finlay would have liked. Finlay walked through the flower, alive, which nobody else did. Finlay walked out the other side of the flower, into a country that had been a country an hour before, and was something else now. And she found Malenia in the wreckage, breathing, barely, and she picked her up. And then she walked. She walked north. She walked back the way they had come, by herself, with a goddess on her back. She walked through a castle that was in mourning. She walked through woods that did not want to let her pass. She did not put the body down. She did not eat very much. She did not, as far as I can tell, sleep. She did not know while she was walking that the tree she was walking toward had already been emptied of the thing the body on her back had walked south to save. None of them knew. They walked on, all the same. She walked all the way back to the tree. She got to the foot of the husk, where I am now, and she put the woman she had carried for I do not know how many days on the seat that had been set there for her. And she sat down beside the seat, and she stayed there until she died, which was not very long. The thing I want to say about Finlay is that there are some kinds of love that do not look like love when you are watching them. They look like a job being done. They look like a person walking. They look like footsteps. She slept for a very long time after that. Long enough for the tree to start to die. Long enough for the rot she had let stand up inside her to begin coming out, through her skin, into the wood. The tree died slowly, from the inside, the way she had been dying her whole life. I think she dreamed it being beautiful. I am still sitting here. The roots are still bleeding. The smell has not changed. She is going to wake up, eventually. Someone is going to come down to this place who has no business being here, and she is going to open the gold where her eyes should be, stand up off the throne, and say the thing she has been practicing in her sleep for 100 years. She will say, "I am Malenia, Blade of Miquella, and I have never known defeat." She will mean it. She has never been a liar. but she has been defeated. She was defeated on a field in the south, the day she chose to lose so that her brother could be paid. She has just been the only one in the room who knows it. I am going to be gone before she wakes. I do not want to be here for that part. I have watched a great many people be told a thing they already knew, and it is not a thing I enjoy. I will leave her one thing. I will leave her the smell of honeysuckle, which she liked. I will leave it near the throne, where she will find it when she wakes. She will not know who left it. That is all right. Some worlds forget themselves. I go to them before they do. This is what I saw while they still remembered.